Hey everyone, Magic Sword here with a different kind of unorganized video. I realized that with the new announcements coming out tomorrow, the 22nd, I should probably do this video now. So the next ones will be prettier, be a little more organized. I'll have it all like downloaded. Maybe I'll do a tier list again. People seem to like that. Um, anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to be reviewing each of those revealed cards so far, starting with Nature Studies, the Druid card. So, we have Discover a Spell, your next one costs one less. This, to me, seems strong. I'd compare it... my immediate thought was Primordial Glyph, but I think it's actually more appropriate to compare it to Haunting Visions from Shaman, I think it was in Rastakhan. Maybe Witchwood, I forget. But that was Discover a 3-mana spell. Your next spell cast this turn costs 3 less. So this doesn't say this turn. I'm going to assume that's intentional because Hearthstone cards are generally pretty literal. So your next spell, period, costs 1 less. So you cast this on 1, then you can cast a 3-mana spell on 2. And it could be packed into your deck, it could be discovered, whatever. Or, you know, maybe you're primarily playing a minion-based deck and you cast it and then you skip a few turns of casting and then you drop a 6-mana spell on 5, right? I was going to say on 7. I was like, that's the wrong direction. So I'm overall, I think this will be in a lot of decks. I think it's going to have, well, it depends on the archetypes that are present. We see a lot of support for Beast Druid, for example. So looking forward to that. Next Druid card we have is actually one of our first mixed class card, the Shan'do Wildclaw. Choose one, give Beast in your deck +1/+1, or transform into a copy of a friendly beast. Again, this depends entirely on how good Beast Druid or Beast Hunter is. I think Hunter has more of that core that makes Beast pretty effective, but I think Beast Druid is going to see quite a bit of support this upcoming expansion, right? I see people comparing this to Keleseth. I think not quite, because I don't think beasts are as capable of taking advantage of that buff as other Keleseth minions were. For example, you don't get any beast eggs. There aren't any eggs that are also beasts, right? So you're not going to get anything fancy there. And then it also has that Faceless Manipulator effect. So any large beast, so you get a 3-mana Gigundus Beast, like a 3-mana King Crush. What a lot of people are pointing to is you play Bran on 7, or play Bran on 10, then you get 2 King Crushes for 10 mana, which is ridiculous. But you're also building a singleton deck, and right now Highlander Hunter isn't based on beasts. So you probably would want a beast-based deck for that to actually happen. Also, it's a 2-card combo, and they are... since they're legendary, you're not running duplicates, so it's less likely to work than most other 2-card combos. So we'll see. We'll see if that's as powerful as people think it will be. Because running that sort of thing in a Highlander setting is kind of, I don't know. Because you basically wouldn't be able to use the other effect, right? But I predict that Beast Druid is going to get a lot of support this expansion. Because of, it's like all Hogwartsy. It's going to be like, oh, they have familiars and stuff. Anyway, next up we have with Paladin, Goody Two-Shields, which A+ for the name alone. So I don't think it'll be that great. It's clearly like a super power crept version of Scarlet Crusader, right? +1/+1 and an additional potential Divine Shield over Scarlet Crusader. I mean, Scarlet Crusader just does not see standard play, so kind of needs to be power crept, right? I think it's strong. I think it's good. It might not see play in standard because I don't see too much use for it, and that additional Divine Shield is going to be kind of hard to get off a lot of the time, because it does only have 2 health, right? So if you ping the shield off and then hit it with a 2-drop, it's dead. I don't think it's that difficult. I think it'll be really good in Arena. But I don't know. It's definitely well statted for its cost. That's the only thing that I'm kind of weird about. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know quite how to assess it. I think it depends on how much ping other classes get at this point. Let's see. Next up, we have First Day of School. Add 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand for 0 mana. 0 mana resource generation immediately started setting off red flags to me, but also random 1-drops. A lot of 1-drops are kind of crap if they're not specifically involved in some strategy you have. So, I don't know. There are cards that benefit from just like playing a bunch of minions, and cards that benefit from playing a bunch of cards, right? So maybe we'll see some sort of Zoo Paladin deck, right? You just flood the board with a bunch of little guys that you generate. But again, I think we'll have to see what else Paladin gets this expansion before we say whether this is good. I think this needs a little bit of support to go with it. Warrior, we've got Rattlegore, which is down here. Death Rattle. It's a 9/9 for 9, so 9 mana do nothing immediately. Resummon this with -1/-1. Yeah, I don't know. It's clearly supposed to be like a control type thing, right? And there aren't really silences everywhere anymore, which benefits this minion greatly. And I think it's comparable to Gorehowl in that, every time you attack with it, it just comes back a little weaker, right? I'm a little underwhelmed. I think a card like this, I'm not saying this would ever be a reasonable thing to print, but a card like this needs some immediate board impact, like Rush, which, no, I don't think in its current state you can just like slap Rush on it, right? Even if it was like an 8/8 for 10, I don't think you could just slap Rush on it, because being able to continually resummon it like that is way too much. And granted, it does need to die, so if you're like, for example, the Dig Day card, right? What is that called? Burly Shovel Fist. If you have that, it's kind of, that would be comparable, but I don't know. I'm not too interested in this card, not gonna lie. I think maybe if you had some way to give it Rush through Lackeys or Aug Merchants, that could be interesting, because then it only has it on the initial summon, right? I don't know. I'm not too hopeful about this. The other warrior card, though, Troublemaker, very hopeful. Immediately I saw people comparing it to pre-nerf Priestess and to Ragnaros. And yeah, so summon 2 3/3s that attack randomly at the end of your turn. If their board is clear, they take 6 face damage and have 2 3/3s to deal with. That's a problem. So I'm not sure if this would fit better in a control style or I think actually it would be a better tempo finisher type thing, right? Like you drop this on 8 and it's your one big drop in the deck, or you're one of 2, and it just like slaps them with 2 3/3s immediately. So 6 damage dropped right on the board, potentially a fireball to the face, potentially a fireball to a minion, or like 2 frost bolts or something, right? I think this could see play in a tempo style warrior. Maybe if control becomes a thing again, we'd see it there. So now we have another dual class one. We have our rogue mage card, Wand Thief. Discover a mage spell. Combo, discover a mage spell. I do like combo being involved in other classes. I really like that, actually. I think it should remain a rogue exclusive otherwise, but it's nice to see it, edging into other territory here with this dual class mechanic. I think it's going to be better in rogue than in mage. I think you might end up seeing it in quest mage and wild, actually. But in standard, I think it fits more as a rogue card. And it would definitely see play if Thief Rogue sees more support. But, I don't know about that one. Don't know if Thief Rogue will ever be... we had Test Greymane and it was, like, borderline, right? I don't know. I think Highlander Mage could run it, actually, pretty easily, because it is Discover a Mage spell, so you can discover a spell to kind of help fill the gaps in your deck. But, we'll see. I think Highlander is going to continue to be a thing next expansion. So... I think it'll see play in Highlander Mage, probably not other mages. And like I said, Quest Mage and Wild. Then our other, we actually didn't get a pure mage card. We only got Mage Rogue and Mage Shaman. We have Devolving Missiles. So, obviously this is random targeting, just like Arcane Missiles. The thing that interests me, though, is when they only have one target, you can have a 1 mana Hex, functionally. It's, you just blast the one guy, if it's a 3 or 4 drop, so early on, it is a weak-ish Hex. And you just kind of boom, 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 and now it's a 1 or 0 drop. So you give them a 1/1 most of the time. Well, not most, but some of the time, right? Or otherwise, like a useless situational minion. Also, it messes with Priest res pool, so I'm really happy about that. I hate Priest. It is my least favorite class. Please remove from the game. Alright, our other Shaman spell is Diligent Notetaker. So this, Baby Cragwa? Not quite. I think this is going to see play in decks where certain key spells are, like, pivotally powerful. You can double up on hexes, for example, or some sort of totem shaman where you double up on all the totem spells. That could be interesting. So any sort of value-oriented shaman, or I wrote control, but I'm thinking even like in a tempo situation where you just really could benefit from casting, for example, totemic image. The one that summons a clone after buffing, right? That one. So not strictly control, but it does generate a lot of value. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you are, it doesn't work with Bloodlust without spell or minion discounting, but we can hope. It'll work in Wild with a Ragnaros. I can't wait for the OTK BS with this and Ragnaros ticks being able to double up on a spell, right? Or triple up or quadruple up if you want to play that hard. All right, here it is. Here it is, Lightning Bloom, the one everyone wanted to see. In my notes, I just wrote, because that's how I feel inside. This is so strong. So this is for Shaman and Druid. It is for both. And I think, I don't know. I don't know what I think. I think it might be a mistake. I don't think there's any good way to nerf this, which is unfortunate. But I think this is going to see use in basically every Shaman deck and most Druid decks. I did see a really good one where it was you play Tunnel Trog, double Lightning Bloom, and then 4 mana 7/7. So you have a 7/3 Tunnel Trog and a 7/7 on turn 1. Of course, that is a 4-card combo on turn 1, which if you're going first, requires you to draw the 4th combo piece. So, and there are all sorts of stupid OTK decks that people are building. Turn 1 OTK, if I draw my entire deck in the correct order, I can do it. Okay, cool, whatever. Those memes, though, are about the underlying power level of this card, which is very high. This is an incredibly strong effect. Gaining 2 mana crystals this turn only. There's a reason they nerfed Innervate, And, this is Overload 2. Overload 2 is a big deal. Because if you play this on 1, that means you skip turn 2. That's why Dust Devil is bad. Because it gets removed early, so you get punished, and then also you skip turn 2, right? However, this can secure you a 3-drop, which turns 1 and 2, basically impossible to remove, right? So if you play this and a 3-drop, and God forbid it's like an Overload 3-drop, right? So if you're playing on turn 1 and you play, like the 4 mana 7/7, or even on turn 2, right? It's like, okay, cool, I just skipped turn 3, but I played a 7/7, right? Or, shoot, I can't think of, like Spirit Wolves. I played 2/2/3s, and I skipped turn 2. Doesn't matter. Skipping turn 2 there? Because you basically, what would you play on turn 2? A 2/3. You basically cheated out your turn 2 already, and they're just paying it forward, or paying for it in advance, right? I don't know. I think this is going to see play in basically every Shaman deck, probably a lot of Druid decks too, because Druid loves to ramp. I didn't even mention Druid combos in Wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it turns out it doesn't matter if you overload if there is no next turn, right? It's like racking up credit card deck before the apocalypse. Like, it just doesn't matter. um, so anyway, on to our neutral cards this set. We have first one up, Wretched Tutor. Spellburst. Deal 2 damage to all other minions. I kind of didn't explain what Spellburst was earlier. I just figured most people watching this would know. It is, and also it's on screen, right? But a one-time effect after you cast a spell. So you cast your spell, all that resolves, and then the minion's effect triggers, and that effect is gone, right? It uses it once, and that's it. So deal 2 damage to all minions. Couple this with another board clear or a zero mana spell and laugh. It's pretty effective. I think this is going to do Demon Hunters dirty if they maintain that tempo path that they've been going down. We actually haven't seen any Demon Hunter cards yet, so who knows. And I think generally this is going to actually be pretty good, because if you play, I'm sorry, I can't think of a better example, but Volcanic Potion, or I guess Breath of the Infinite, right? That's a 4 mana clear for 7. It's Flame Strike, right? I think pairing this with other cheap board clears is going to be very strong overall. And like I said, Anti-Demon Hunter, which I'm sure a lot of people are happy about. Okay, next up is Transfer Student. I'm sure we've all talked about it to death. I'm sure we've all experimented with it by now. You can go ahead and watch my video right here about it, and I'll also link it at the very end. I'd say overall it's a pretty strong card. Each individual effect seems strong, barring a few. I don't know, you can catch my full thoughts in that video. Cult Neophyte. Your opponent's spells cost 1 more next turn. This is a little baby Lotheb. I like it. I think spells are going to play a much larger role in this upcoming expansion, because it's the Magic School. I don't think that is a really out there thought. So you will be delaying your opponent's spell burst effects. You'll be delaying their powerful spells that I'm sure will come with this expansion. Even classes that don't traditionally rely on spells will probably be getting very powerful spells in the next month. We'll see them revealed. As those powerful spells get revealed, I will probably bring up Cult Neophyte and say, hey, look at this. Probably want to delay this turn, right? I don't know. I think this could be some sort of tech card, maybe an anti-combo if we see combo ever again in Standard. Just because you want to, like, oh man, my opponent has their combo ready, I'm going to slap this down and buy myself a turn, right? I can't imagine this with Shudderwalk. That's kind of scary. Just the same way that Lotheb is that scary. But anyway, let's go up to the last card here, Onyx Magescribe. I keep wanting to say Scribe Mage, because why does the adjective come second? Well, it's not a proper adjective. It's just a, whatever. Maybe it's supposed to be Magescribe. It's like, all right, this is getting stupid. So, Spellburst, add 2 random spells to your class from your class to your hand. Good stats for cost. It's a 4/9 for 6. That's fine. Especially as cards become more about as minions become more about their battle cries and death rattles. 4s and 5s can't really trade into this that well. Interesting Spellburst effect. It allows you to trigger other spell bursts by virtue of the fact that you are generating spells, especially ones from your class. Being able to do stuff from your class is usually pretty important, as opposed to like Thief Rogue, for example, from another class, where sometimes you get dead cards because they just don't synergize with anything you do. But I think Magescribe is interesting. I most want to compare it to Cobalt Spellkin. I'm not sure how great of a comparison that is, but I think it's definitely going to be a good arena card, because Resource Gen is always good in arena, almost always, unless it's way too slow. And I think it might see play in something like a Quest Mage, of course, always comes back to Quest Mage when you talk about spell gen, and even like some Highlander decks that might be starved for those resources, right? Whenever you see resource generation, the first thing I think of is a Highlander deck, because you can always use free duplicates. You can always use something that maybe you didn't want to pack into the deck otherwise, right? And that is everything we have so far from this upcoming expansion. Looking forward to tomorrow when we hear some more about Scholomance. I'll probably wait a week, try to collect more. We'll see. We'll see, actually, depending on how long that video is, right? If it becomes too much to get it all together there. But at any rate, yeah, I'm very excited for Scholomance. I think it's good to see that we're going to get all these spell type things, right? All these spell related cards. I think it's going to add to it. It's going to feel, in my mind, like old Hearthstone. Something about the tone of this set really reminds me of old Hearthstone. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and we'll keep the discussion going there, and on future videos as well. All right. See ya.